Build the life of your dreams with coffee. Here now is the coffee couple, Carlos and Reina, on Coffee Talk Radio.
All right, guys, thanks so much for joining us this evening, this morning, wherever you may find yourself on this edition of Coffee Talk. My name is Carlos.
And I'm Reina.
And we are the coffee couple.
Yes. Hoping everybody's okay out there.
Wherever you may be. And like we had mentioned before, we find that we're getting views from everywhere, all over the world. We're all over the country, and It's really nice that that this little coffee talk of ours is reaching you guys. And for what it's worth, whether it's boring you, entertaining you,
entertaining,
having you guys get to know us a little bit more, which is the purpose of this.
Yes.
It's something fun for us to do, and of course, hope you guys get something out of it. And today we are going to be talking about dancing. We're going to be talking about, not save this dance for me. What did I say?
May I have this dance?
May I have this dance? So Raina and I were going to, we went to go watch mariachis on Friday, which was a blast.
Yes.
We had a really good time out there. And
then we went to the club next door.
And we went to the club next door?
Well, there was a club. It was the bar area, but it was the club.
Oh, yeah. We went to and did a little karaoke. Yeah. We tried. We signed up and
karaoke and dancing. I liked it.
Yeah, look, it turns out we danced more than we did karaoke because we got there kind of late. For all you karaoke fans, you know that you kind of got to get there early to get on the rotation. But we had a blast. We went to go see mariachi, Voz de Mexico. It's in La Barca in Downey, California. Yes. Really nice place.
Yes.
And right afterwards, we went over and spent some time in the bar area, and
it was renovated.
Really, really nice. And we did more dancing than we did singing, which is probably
crowded.
a good thing.
It was crowded, but we got lucky. We got a nice table.
We did. We were VIP.
Yeah, we got to watch a lot of dancers. So
dancers. Mm-hmm.
Really different nowadays from when Carlos remembers it, because I remember it just as it is today.
Well, I had mentioned to Reina that I was glad, or I'm happy that I grew up in an era where it was still proper. I guess
etiquette.
It was proper etiquette. It was just what we did, and I don't know if it was like this in California in the 80s or late 70s, all of 80s, but certainly in Texas where I grew up.
With all my exes.
Exactly. I grew up in an era where men still asked women to dance, and women still waited on the man.
How old were you?
To dance. Well, I'm talking, my first junior high dance was when I was in 7th grade that I can remember, and so if 7th grade I was around, 12, 13 years old.
Okay, but how old were you when you thought it was still proper etiquette? How old were you then?
Well, I think... Well, the thing about it is I grew up in Texas, so that's all I knew. When we went out dancing with friends and stuff, it was literally just like we were talking. We had a really cool conversation about this because I remember going to these clubs, and it was always kind of a challenge for us guys because it was always, okay, who are you going to ask? And, see that girl, I think she's going to say yes. And it was just kind of a fun thing to do. And like I had mentioned to Reina, I remember having no game. I had like zero game, and I was really shy, withdrawn.
So how old were you?
Well,
20s?
Pretty much in my teens. And
late teens?
Yeah, teens and 20s. And, I was just, I had to develop. But what I was getting at...
And your friends, too?
Well, not all my friends. Obviously, my friends have varying degrees of confidence and, dance levels, because not all of us could dance. But I just remember that my very first dance in junior high, I remember standing there and wanting to dance really, really bad, and so did the other my friends. There were the other teenagers that were there. The girls were standing around waiting for us guys to ask them to dance, and that's just how it was. And obviously, it eventually did happen. A guy would ask the girl, and the girl would say yes. And it was always that fun and game thing where if the guy went to ask the girl, she would say no, and of course he'd have to do the walk of shame, and so that was the discussion. Is that
then you came over here and you were shocked to find out that nobody asked anybody; they just all assumed they were going to dance, and most of them were the girls dancing in a circle, And the guys would take a risk and kind of throw themselves into that circle and see if they were accepted, because that was my era.
Well,
That's
I
what I
don't.
saw.
Well, okay, that's what you saw, but maybe not when you were a teenager.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, well, it
absolutely.
must have been a Texas thing or a California thing, because certainly it's well known that obviously here in California it's more liberal, it's more progressive.
I guess.
But what I was mentioning to Raina was that I remember going out to a club when I was in my late 20s. For those of you who don't know, I spent most of my 20s in the Marine Corps, so there wasn't a whole lot of up-friend. I was probably about 28, 29 years old. And we went to this one club, and I remember I was literally shocked. I was literally
Here
shocked.
in Texas.
No, here.
Oh.
Remember we call
Peppers?
Peppers in City of Industry.
Everybody's going to chime in on that one.
So yeah, so I remember my friend. He took me over there, and we just walked in, and I remember the first thing I saw was these groups of women dancing by themselves, and it was, I have to say, it's the first time that I saw that it was a group of guys dancing by themselves, and it was that type of music where you didn't necessarily have to dance with somebody. It wasn't a waltz. It wasn't a two-step or something like that. So, to their defense, they were just kind of dancing with that type of music. But I remember, telling my friend, I was like, well, how are we going to dance if all the women are dancing already?
You would join that circle.
But that's the problem, like you just said. I don't know at what point women just said, screw it. Let's just go dance, because these guys either don't know how to dance, or they don't have enough confidence to ask us, or we just don't want to dance with them.
Yeah, they wouldn't ask.
So what did you say about that?
Well, my thing was, I really didn't wait. I had friends that would wait, and that would encourage me to wait, and I'd say, no, you know what? I like this song. And the guys are just standing there still scared, just staring across the room. Obviously, they want to dance, and they're moving, and they're making eye contact, but they just don't come up to us. So my first inclination was, you know what? This is my song. I've been wanting to dance. That's what I'm going to do. And I'd go out there. First thing, I'd be out there by myself. I'd be dancing on this little stage or whatever, And I would try to pull my friends with me, but they wouldn't come. They'd be waiting for the guy to ask them. And
Well, why do you think that was? Were they embarrassed to go dance by themselves?
That's how.
Or did they feel like it was proper thing to do?
They felt that it was the proper thing to do, and they were embarrassed to be the first ones up there. Where I was just, you know what? I'm here to have a good time. This guy obviously wants to, but he's not going to ask me. He's too afraid or whatever. And if they would, they'd make too much of it. They'd, hi, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. And I just was there to have a good time. So nobody needed to have a game. Nobody needed to have anything. I just wanted to dance.
Well, see, that's the problem, and I guess that's the fun of it. Of course, looking back, because obviously I've had my share of total train wrecks and
shoot downs. Yeah.
Shoot. But that's the whole thing. Is that, see, us guys, when we're standing around, we don't get the benefit of hearing what you just said. Whereas that, hey, just come ask me to dance, I'll go.
Well, okay, I'm the exception to that rule, because most of my friends, you should have asked her. I was the exception of, you know what? You don't need a game. Just come ask me. I don't need to know your name. You don't need to know mine. I just want to dance. But some of my friends, they were very picky, very selective. And if it wasn't that one particular guy, then they would have shot you down. And if you didn't ask them the right way, they would have shot you down. So
exactly. Well, see, that's the whole thing right there for us guys too. And I know back in the day, I mean, it was always that it was just that climate of having game, and you had to have a nice smooth line, and you're right, it shouldn't have been that way, because really we are there just to have a good time and dance. But then us guys make it more complicated by saying, okay, what if she's going to say no? What if I don't look right? And because of that, because of what you just said, because there are women out there who's like, okay, you come up to them and you say, may I have this dance? And they look at you up and down and say no.
Yeah. Well,
just based on the way you look.
And see, to me, I would always say yes. First person who would ask me, and if he danced well, and if he didn't get all over me, I would just dance. I would have a good time, where my friends were a lot pickier, and they'd be like, no, She was waiting for not Joe Blow number 1, but Joe Blow number 2, who was way off in the corner, not even paying attention to her.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just strange, but I get what you're saying.
But I definitely think that times have changed.
Yes.
There's no doubt about that. And there are places still in California, and I don't want to put California down or say that they're just so extremely progressive that doesn't exist.
Well,
But
we're very liberal. We're liberal.
yeah,
here.
we're definitely liberal here in California. But I'm just saying, like, as a whole, as a people, as a society, I think that it is vastly more acceptable now for women to go out and dance, and even now guys to go out and dance as teenagers. I don't know about the 20s and the 30s and so forth, but I know that at least for our children, they will live in a society where when they go out to clubs or they go out to a dance, that they're not gonna look at this place and see these groups of women dancing around and say, "Oh, that's weird," like I did. Now it's no thing for me now because I know that's what's going to happen, but like I said, I'm just I feel privileged to have lived during that time where it was the woman gets asked and the guy's asking. Hopefully, and that's how it works out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because certainly right now, these days, especially here in California, it definitely is not the way to do things. You can do whatever you want now.
We ask each other.
But I think it's kind of cool. Just because I think also
I hear a song and I ask you, and
well, that's the thing. That was just exactly what I was about to say. I think it's cool now because I have actually been. And at some places, not recently, obviously, but back when I was going out and stuff, I had women go ask me to dance. And I thought that was a little strange and awkward, but at the same time refreshing because I'm thinking, wow, I kind of wanted to dance to this song, but I was maybe too timid or too tired or too exhausted or didn't want to get shot down again. And it was kind of refreshing that it didn't matter what she looked like, but she came to ask me to dance. And okay, well, let's go dance.
yeah, we have yet to tell our story.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be another coffee talk.
I know. That'll be a good coffee talk.
But yeah, guys, so we were having this real nice conversation about that, and it is just it's refreshing in a way to know that women are now more empowered to feel that they can go and dance by themselves or in a group and not have to necessarily wait for a gentleman or man to come and ask them, and also the fact that it's also now acceptable and refreshing for a man to be asked by a woman to dance and not feel like you're some kind of coward or less of a man for having done so.
Right. And I would just encourage the men out there, don't be afraid to go ask. You never know. I mean, really,
it's easier.
It's
easier said
to me,
than done.
It's absurd because who cares if we say no? Seriously, who cares?
Well,
I'm just gonna throw this out there.
That's why we don't.
I'm gonna throw this out there. I went up to a few teen men, a few in their 20s, a few in their 40s after I got divorced, and asked, and I was rejected. So there you go. And I just went and danced by myself. So who cares? I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah, I agree with that too, because I think us guys we get hung up on that, where I think maybe it's our egos and our machoism.
It is the egos.
It's where like,
egos.
you know what,
I don't have
she
an
better
ego.
say hi or she better dance with me, and also it doesn't help that when you're with a bunch of guys with your bunch of friends
And
and
they
you go
make
get
fun
shot
of
down,
you.
you come down,
Yeah.
you come back and walk that walk of shame, and they kind of make fun of you. I mean, in a good fun way, but it doesn't feel good. So
Right.
hey, but sometimes I mean I've been out and about and I've had it had been my night, where I was 10 for 10 or 9 for 9 or however many dances I chose, and then there was some where it was like I was batting 100 or I got shot down every single time. So it was the luck of the draw, but I think that's the whole deal, is that I really liked having lived in that era because it was fun, that thrill of the hunt, that is she going to say no or yes. And
It is not fun. You said it wasn't.
well, looking back now, I can definitely say it was, because I wouldn't have, only looking back from where I lived, from where I came, and the times that I lived in, like if I compare it to now where I go into a club and I just can dance by myself, or maybe not dance at all and just watch the women dance, I can certainly say that I can appreciate and just am glad that I did live during that time where it was still that thrill of the hunt, and then when she finally did say yes, it just felt really nice.
Well, I just have to say that I'm glad we're not in that situation anymore. And that
Well,
I'm
certainly.
glad that you and I walk into a place and we're holding hands and
Absolutely.
we can sit and observe and have a good conversation. If we want to dance, we dance. And if I want to dance, I'm going to ask you, and you take me out and we step all over each other's feet and we come home together and we have a good time.
Exactly.
What?
Yeah, I thought you were going to expand on that
Oh!
coming home part, but absolutely. So yes, that definitely is what we were talking about, and we wanted to kind of share that with you guys. So if you have any comments or agree with me or Reina,
Or disagree
or
with either
disagree
one
with
of
us, we'd definitely love to hear from you. It's always just a fun topic when it comes to generations, as we now can appreciate us being in our age, because I'll be 45 this year. And growing up in the 80s, I can definitely see the distinction and the times changing, unlike any other time in my life.
Right.
So it's fun. But once again, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us for this coffee talk. We always love your input, your comments.
Yes, please. You're welcome to type in anything, whatever you think. We
Ask us questions,
Uh-huh.
comments, and if it's on Facebook, Twitter, any other social media, guys, we're definitely happy that each and every one of you join us and let us know that you're out there. And with that wraps up this edition of Coffee Talk. And I hope you guys had a good time with it. We'll see you next time. My name is Carlos.
And I'm Reina.
And we are the Coffee Couple.
God bless you all.
Thank you for enjoying Coffee Talk with Carlos and Reina, the Coffee Couple. As home business mentors, Carlos and Reina invite you to enjoy better health and wealth starting right now. Go to www.thecoffeecouple.net for more information. That's www.thecoffeecouple.net.